Now, what are the broad constituents of GST? If we see the broad constituents, then we have basically two types of sales. Intra-state sale, that is sale within the state, and in that case two types of taxes, that is CGST, that is Central Goods and Services Tax, and SGST, that is the State Goods and Services Tax, will be levied. Yes, in the case of let us say if we are selling goods in Delhi itself from one dealer to the other dealer or from one supplier to the other, then two taxes will be levied, that is Delhi Central Goods and Services Tax and Central Goods and Services Tax. And when we talk about interstate sale, that is sale between two states, we can take the case of again Delhi and Haryana. In that case, a single tax will be levied, that is IGST or Integrated Goods and Services Tax. This tax will be levied when there is sale between two states, and if the sale is within the state, same state like Maharashtra, within Maharashtra, let us say from Mumbai to some other city, Sholapur, etc., it is sold in Maharashtra itself, then it will be intrastate sale, and CGST and SGST will be levied. For each state, the CGST and SGST will be separate. Now, if we want to know more about IGST, which is Integrated Goods and Services Tax, which is levied in the case of interstate supply of goods and services, basically it again will be divided into two parts. Though the collection of taxes will be through a single challan, you will have to deposit a single challan of IGST, which will be collected by the central government, but subsequently it will be retained its own portion. The central government's portion will be retained by the central government, and the relevant state's portion will be transferred by the central government to the state government. So that is why it is called Integrated Goods and Services Tax, because it constitutes central taxes also and the state taxes also. Cross utilization of credit. Now we need to understand how various taxes can be adjusted against each other, or whether they can be adjusted against each other or not. That is, if CGST is to be paid, whether I have to pay it directly through payment only, or I can use the other taxes. Obviously, the same tax, if the input tax credit is available to me, then I can use it. But if some other taxes are available, can I use it? Let us see and understand. If I have balance of input tax credit of CGST, it can first of all be used against payment of output tax liability of CGST. And thereafter, if some balance remains, that can be used for payment of IGST liability. Taking an example, if there is a balance of 100 rupees in CGST account, and I have to pay CGST tax liabilities of around 70 rupees, then for 70 rupees, obviously this adjustment can be done CGST against SGST, and the remaining 30 rupees I can use for payment of IGST. But I cannot use this 30 rupees for payment of, yes, what I cannot use for payment of SGST. So I'll repeat, CGST can be used for making payment of CGST. If some balance remains, I can use it for payment of IGST, but it cannot be used for payment of SGST. Coming to SGST, now I have some balance in SGST account because I purchased some material, and in that SGST was charged, and I have that input tax benefit with me. This obviously can be used for payment of output tax liability of SGST. And if some balance still remains, I can use it for payment of output tax liability of IGST. I'll repeat once again. SGST can be used for payment of SGST first. If still some balance remains, it can be used for payment of IGST liability, but you cannot use it for payment of output tax liability of CGST. Coming to IGST. IGST, that is Integrated Goods and Services Tax, if some balance is there, first of all, it can be used for payment of output tax liability of IGST. If still after the payment of IGST some balance remains, then I can use it for payment of output tax liability of CGST. And if still the balance remains, I can use it for payment of output tax liability of SGST. So the sequence in the case of IGST will be IGST, CGST, and then SGST. So this is how the adjustment of taxes can be taken place in this way. Important here to note is that CGST cannot be adjusted against SGST and SGST cannot be adjusted against CGST. Now coming to the tax rates in GST. Specific rates for specific items is still not worked out by the GST Council. Very soon they'll be doing it. But a broad consensus is there for the rates. That is, for the essential items like food grains, food products, etc., the rate will be zero rated. That is, nil rate will be there. Then other items of common use will be taxable at around 5%. Then there will be a standard rate of 12% and 18% for different items. General use items, most of the items will be levied at these rates. And then finally there is a high rate of 28%, which is for luxury items like air conditioners, etc., or for sin products like tobacco products, like cigarettes, like cold drinks, etc. On all these products, highest rate of 28% will be levied, and even in these products, luxury products and sin products, a cess will also be there. Now you will ask whether these rates will remain uniform across the country. They should remain uniform across the country, but some leverage has been given to the states for very few items, that they can reduce or have a higher rate for a particular item. That is to protect their local industry, like in the case of West Bengal it could be handicrafts, jute products, etc. But it has to be for very few items. Otherwise, the very question and very logic of GST will go if we have different rates, multiple rates, and rate is different in different states. Then again, people will be buying or selling from a particular location only because of the tax rate. So that should not happen. And GST Council will not very easily be allowing states to have different rates.